The pale light of early morning shone through the cloudy glass of the window. Helen woke to a strange silence. The house was always noisy in the morning, with children running around the house. Her husband was preparing breakfast, making coffee. Today, however, nothing. Complete silence. She sat up on the bed and felt uneasy. The window was tightly closed. Helen moved closer and tried to open it. However, there were thick wooden boards nailed on the windows from the outside. "What the hell?" she muttered. With trembling hands, she grabbed her phone, but the screen was black, discharged. She knew she'd left it on the charger before going to bed. She was frightened. Thoughts ran through her head, one scarier than the next. Helen left the bedroom and walked down the hall. The door of the children's room was ajar, the beds made. The children were nowhere to be found. The kitchen was perfectly clean. There weren't even any dishes left over from breakfast. There was no food in the refrigerator. The shelves in the pantry were empty. They're gone. They left without me, she thought. Where did they go, and why? She rushed to the front door, grabbed the doorknob and pulled. It was locked. She yanked hard, but the door didn't move. Then she noticed that there were boards nailed to the door too. Like the windows, they were nailed shut. "What's going on?" she shouted, pounding her fists on the wood. There was no answer, only a frightening silence. She dashed to the backyard, back door. It had always been open. However, it was locked too, with a metal deadbolt hanging from the outside. Planks, planks, planks. It was like being locked in a coffin made from her own house. In a panic, Helen began to run through her thoughts. Could this be a joke? Maybe her family wanted to teach her a lesson. Maybe someone made them do it. Maybe they're in danger. Maybe... Her husband's voice rang in her head. "You don't understand what's going on. You don't see what we see." The memory frightened her. Helen remembered her husband saying those words to her last night, before she fell asleep. Her breath hitched. She began to look around the house. There had to be a loophole, something to help her get out. She heard footsteps, muffled, heavy footsteps on the wooden floor upstairs, in her bedroom. She froze. She was sure she'd woken up alone, but someone was there. Helen stepped back slowly, grabbed the knife off the table. Fear coursed through her. Someone was pacing around her house, in her bedroom, in her sanctuary, and then a muffled voice. "You shouldn't have woken up so early, Helen." She shrieked, and the knife fell out of her hand. The footsteps came faster. The creature or man upstairs moved toward the stairs. She could hear the creaking of the old steps under its weight. Each second lasted like an eternity. Helen raised the knife sharply, trying to pull herself together. She stepped back, feeling cold sweat running down her back. "Who are you?" she shouted in a trembling voice. The answer was only loud laughter, and then the upstairs door swung open with a crash. Heavy footsteps stopped, and then there was a scraping sound, as if something clawed at the railing. Helen realized there was nowhere to run. The house had become a cage, and the creature knew it.